Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I am your guide Elpy, and this is mixed worm bin number 2. Today is the 2nd of January 2025. Welcome to the new year, everyone. Happy New Year to you. I hope that it's off to a good start for you. So far so good over here. Okay, so last time we fed this bin was on the 22nd of December, and that was time for pie. They got pumpkin pie as well as a whole bunch of vegetables and some pita bread. And before that, it had been the 7th of December, and that was over here. And when I checked in, when I did a 4-day check-in, so on the 22nd and then the 26th, this bin was more advanced in terms of the food being broken down than any of the other bins. And the worms seemed to be quite happy. And then also on the 7th, things continued, or not the 7th, sorry. On day 7, I did a day 7 check-in. Things were breaking down really well. The other thing that we did since the 22nd is I came in here. I don't know if you've been here before, if you recall that I've been wanting to harvest half of these castings. I wanted to harvest them in October, and they were just way too wet, and the worms were just all up in these castings. I mean, it was full of them, and I just thought, oh my goodness, like, I'll pick out worms when I harvest, but that's a little too much. So what I've done in the last week is I decided to go ahead. Things were, the worms have moved out. They like the last couple of feedings, but things were still pretty wet in here, in part because of the feedings that I've been providing. There's been enough moisture to go around the bin that these castings are not really drying out. And it's cold down here, and despite the furnace being on, the furnace doesn't supply the basement, but I would still think that the air would be drier to help dry these out, but at the same time the air is colder, so that's not helping to dry it out. So I put these dry strips of paper in the hopes that they would do what they did and absorb the moisture to help the castings dry out. But I think then I counteracted that effort with the feedings that I've been providing. So you see, and also I was concerned that it might draw the attention of the worms to come back over here, which we just see a couple of worms. So, they're still pretty dang wet. Huh. All right, well, let's go. This is 11 days since the feeding on the 22nd. I'm just going to put that stuff on top, which this is probably going to attract because that's nice and wet. But, okay. So let's go ahead and move on over here. We see a lot of worms on top. Lots of worms. How many of you think I should just harvest those castings and just keep stirring them up in a bucket and let them dry out on their own so I can get new material in here? And how many of you think I should just let them dry out here in the bin? Okay, so this was the feeding where we fed on the 7th. And there's a lot of worms over here, but we've only been feeding in half the bin. Oh yeah, I did add, due to the moisture situation, I did add a bunch of paper over here last on the check-in, the 7-day check-in. Yeah, here, oh, this is from, I think I just pulled this out from under the newest feeding. Whoops. Let's go ahead and put that back and just go over to the newest feeding. Mites and worms. It does feel warmer over here. Oh yeah, definitely warmer. It's a comfortable warmer than bin 1. Lots of worms. So there's our pie. Ooh. Surrounded by cardboard. And lots of worms. Yeah, it's very, very warm. Oh, yeah. Wow. Even more worms over here. Oh yeah, these guys are getting their grub on. A lot of mites down there. One's all on the wall. And that's a piece of wood. All right, well, my goodness. This was a satisfying check-in. Wouldn't you say so? Yep. Cool, I'm not gonna... Do I want to dig down there more? I don't know that I do. I do, but I don't, you know? There's the peppers. The worms are mainly at the top. Around this pie and these top peppers. But you see there's a lot of them. And this cardboard. So, that feeding, yeah, definitely disturbed. Whoops, by pulling that up. This was down at the bottom. I'll go ahead and just leave it on top now. But, all right, well, they do not need to be fed. How long? It's going to be... I was talking about potentially adding a little bit more food to mixed worm bin 1 in on about day 15 or 16. Today is the 11th day since the feeding on the 22nd. This bin, I definitely don't think I need to do that. I think when we hit the 3-week mark from that feeding, all of this stuff will be... Yeah, I think for sure... I think I won't do a feeding until I hit the 3-week mark. So if this is 11 days... Well, that would be 10 more days. No, that's a little bit longer then. So 7 days from now. So maybe 2.5 week mark. I'll be back into the bins to feed them. And I'll probably have a decision by then as to just how much I feel like waiting for these castings. How much I feel like waiting for them versus harvesting and let them dry out on their own. But all right, thank you so much for your time and your interest. Again, Happy New Year. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I'd appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button or the thumbs down button. Either one would be helpful to the channel. And yeah, I hope to hear from you in the comments and see you around the ElpyDimension. Be safe, be well. Bye for now.